Very good evening, delegates. Welcome to today's CPE meeting. We have with us Dr. P.T. Giridharan. He will take us through recent developments relating to Competition Act. May I now request PTG sir to occupy the dais. It's a happy moment for me to introduce Dr. P.T. Giridharan, under whom and under his guidance I have worked in the recent past. Dr. P.T. Giridharan, fondly called as a PTG, is a first-class master degree holder in commerce and a PhD in the topic of finance. He is a member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. His specializations are corporate laws, finance and governance. He has a solid and a rich area of experience, exposure and expertise in the CA course arena and lectured widely in CA circuit of members and students conferences, seminars and other workshops. He has handled many MC assignments from time to time in the area of company law and investors awareness program, independent directors program all over India, and was briefly a SEBI financial literacy resource person as well. To add feathers to his cap, he served for 2.5 decades and retired from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India as additional director and regional head of Southern Region in the month June 2019. With this brief, I present before you Dr. P.T. Giridharan. Please give him a big round of applause. Before we hear, sir, let us all rise for ICA motto as a mark of respect to our mother institute. Thank you, delegates. Over to Dr. P.T. Giridharan, sir.
A very good evening to all of you. Chairman SIRC in absentia, Dr. Paramasivan, Mr. Raghuman, and most of my dear officers in the SIRC and SRO, and above all, dear members. It has always been a pleasure to come to this platform. Well, I have lavishly used like Virat Kohli when I was in ICA, that all Saturdays and Sundays I was not with my family at all, because I was family with the topics, lectures, organizing event, and what sorts of things ICA does. You all know well about it. I was really a grandmaster, and thanks to the ICA for giving a lot of opportunities. So I am spending my leisurely and lovely time of my retired life. But doesn't mean that we know that institute, when they organize a program, and especially topic on this one, so definitely I know that there is a lack of competitiveness in reaching the speakers, especially on a topic like this. Had it been a tax audit under 44B or a GST audit or bank audit, there will be more auditees here. But a topic like competition, where there is numerous opportunities, I would say. Why I am telling all these things, because, and why I accepted this assignment. Before that, a disclaimer clause, I am not an expert in competition law at all. I am not in competition with anybody, neither as a company secretary nor with the peer groups. But in 2004 itself, when this act came, I was working in Delhi, and all our hectic activities happen only after 10 o'clock when the president used to have the editorial board meeting. And when they're finalizing the journal, you find number of missing pages there, blank pages. So they will be scouting for to fill up their pages. Advertisement will not come, this will not come, that will not come. So I was asked to write within 4 hours a topic on competition law in July 2004. I remember that one. And the president at that time, Mr. N.D. Gupta, wanted me to focus that do not concentrate on the provisions of the law, but you concentrate on the professional opportunities for the chartered accountants. I said, sir, sorry, no. There is no opportunity at all for me at this point of time to go into the competition law as such. But anyhow, I tried my level best and I did find out a lot of opportunities which were there from 2002 till we are in 2019. And I see most of these competitive opportunities are being carried away by the lawyers only. There are many accounting practices and even the auditing practices which people are not ready to appear before the commission or the compact, we say is a competitive appellate tribunal to discuss the matters. The reason why I am harping on this particular point is that one, that I may be a little away, but I'll come to the point that this attestation responsibility is not at all there at all. It is a question of only defending our parties to say that whether any violations or prohibitions have been done under the Competition Act only. That's all. So it's a more of an ideological and intellectual work that we have, all the 3 professionals have in competition law. But the fact is that it's otherwise. Always the cow will go for a grass and the donkey will go for a paper. Not that I'm talking as a donkey or like that one. I had to had a disclaimer like in any Hindi serial or Tamil news series, a disclaimer class. என்னுடைய பேச்சில் வரும் சகாபாத்திரங்களும் நடவு எல்லாம் உண்மை அல்ல. This all like a free flow of matter only. I has to talk on this matter. I have not prepared any presentation, though I have a lot of materials. But I will keep the time constraints, the competition in which you are also sitting, and I will not abuse you to the larger extent, to the fact of boring on various other matters. I will not be touching upon the sections. I will not be touching anything else except I will give the brevity of this matter and entice you to go through this competition law once again and find out whether opportunities exist for you. So I am only giving you the probabilities of what opportunities that we have not touched at all, either be a cost accountant. In fact, I go one step further to say the cost accountants have got a very, very more role play in this competition law in determining the price of the goods. Determining the price of the goods. Data mining is a very, very important area even today. Data mining. That is why data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning abilities are all there, which the commission is not equipped at all. In fact, I would say go on offensive side to say they are very, very ill-equipped. So from 2002 onwards till today, when I was going through the very lot of literatures, one thing it back flashes to my mind was that one, the old archaic and a very outdated law, that is MRTP Act, Monopolies Restrictive Trade Practice Act of 1969, could have been much better than what Competition Act could have been unfolded many theories. Unfortunately, when I see in the last 15 years, especially after 1990, whether it be any government, the government focus is on minimum government and the maximum governance. That is what the theme of today's government with regard to the approach of any regulatory mechanism. At the end of any day, that we don't look into our expertise, we always look at the people sitting at the appellate tribunal, or you go to the income tax appellate tribunal, or to the RO's RD office. All these things, we look at the people there. Who are the people over there? In fact, even in civil service examinations, when the candidates pass the final examinations, when they go for interview, which is on the final lab, they see who are all the interview board members. And then only they prepare for them. According to the taste of these people only, the people appear for the interview. Similar in the Competition Commission also, right from beginning, 2002 onwards, for a very long time, there were very legal hurdles in appointing the chief of the competition commissions. Lawyers were fighting in the Supreme Court as to who would head this competition commission of India. That is the main the deliberations which I have come here to tell, plus some other case laws and some other background, because nobody is going to appear here for CA examination against. Enough is enough. But to give a background is that this particular law or any other law for the time being, even the IBC, it has got relevance to the competition law. What the government says is we will have a less of intervention, that is minimum government and the maximum governments. Possibly these two things do not coincide together at all, because they're very important for any judgment for that matter. Even in the very famous case of Ayodhya or something else, we find there is some lacunae in the judgment, that the judges, while presenting the judgment, they arrive at a landmark decisions but leave a scope for the opponents, that is opposite parties, to prefer an appeal in the form of a review petitions. Similarly here also, the Competition Commission of India as of now has got only 3 members only. Chairpersons and the 2 persons. All the 3 people are just members, and when they go for a ruling, what the Supreme Court says is there any judicial member? If there are no judicial members at all, any ruling that is coming from the CCA is actually null and void only. That's all. The matter ends there only. But looking into the probability and the severity of the matters in various cases, the CCA Competition Commission of India is still having not only teething problems, main problems of filling up the vacancies. What the law says is, with these 3 members, you cannot pass any decisions or have any overruling at all. This is a major big story for the Competition Commission of India. If you look at the website also, even section 54 of the Competition Act, which is dealing with the compact, that is Competition Appellate Tribunal, is still on hold because they are not able to get the judicial members. So you don't have any judicial members, you don't have any technical members. Just like in National Company Law Tribunal, you got a judicial members also, you got technical members also. It is only the judicial members which take a stand and a ruling on any matters pertaining to compromise, arrangement, oppression, mismanagement, whatever may be. It's only the NCLT which takes. But in the Competition Commission, as of today, there is no judicial members at all. So look at the fact that almost 15-16 years have passed. Only court wranglings are taking place in the competition law. As a result, if you look at vast number of cases, the only lawyers are representing the case, and there is no scope for professionals enters into a matter at all. This is the limitation of the government perspective on any regulatory mechanism, that with minimum government and maximum governance, it will not take place at all. I go back to the other things also, maybe an offshoot, but definitely having a correlation to this matter. When the Controller of Capital Issues was there in 1967 and was replaced by the SEBI in 1992, if you look at the scenario from what they have done very ruthlessly and what now they are doing liberally, only investors are losing the money at any point of a time at all. There is no difference. At least Control of Capital Issues was having a authority on capping the price of a share in the market. But when the SEBI came with a preamble to protect the investors, we see on day-to-day basis that is only a post-mortem affairs only, and there is nothing like a whistleblower or vigil mechanism is not at all there. It is not only with these institutions, in many institutions and many statutes. What is ailing in all these regulatory mechanisms is the concept of judicial has not still engraved into. Maybe one may think that why judicial members are quite required. Are they going to give any pronouncement or judgment? That is what the court thinks that one. Being a mere chairperson and being a mere member, you cannot have any judgment on the matter at all. So they have lawyers have got a lot of a lobby with regard to National Company Law Tribunal, Appellate Tribunal, or even ITAT. I would go very further, and even with regard to competition, you don't find any professional members. You find only retired bureaucrats. After 60, they find a placement up to 65 or 70, and judicial members have their own lobbying it. As a result, the CCA is still in a very incubator only after 19 years. Very recently, a group of committee have submitted a report to the government. We know how much time it will take to revitalize the entire things. Is a well-known fact. Even if you take a company law for that matter, from 2013 till today, lot of amendment, but still the government wants ease of doing the business in India. So amendments are going on, taking place. Penalties have been going to be drastically reduced, for which amendment is going to take place. So the business community is not in conformity with the laws and regulations of the country, and the government is finding its own ways how to fill up the vacancies. So one opportunity that lies before is there are a lot of empty chairs in the CCA of India. If you go to the website, you find all on deputation basis. So many things they are announcing it because they had to do the ruling on a particular judgment. Cases are coming before them, and they cannot take a final judgment on any matter of the simple reason the court says you don't have a judicial member and you don't have any quorum at all. So this is the story of this competition law. They are left with only 3 members only. Then I would little bit go further that when I look at any meaning or any ascertainment of anything, I have to find out the meaning from the Act. For example, Income Tax Act means what is an income? The Income Tax Act gives the list of items. If I go to Surface Act, securitization, enforcement, there is one definition. Look at Partnership Act, LLP, there is a definition. But here, the Act title, very short and sweet title, is only Competition Act of 2002, but there is no definition of competition at all. There is a lot of competition among the parties, among the lawyers, to take up the cases on competition, but what is a competition has not been defined in the Act at all. That is why it is very important, little bit off track to chase this. Name is very important, because a deep meaning and a horoscope begins the name of the person or the name of the institutions. Here, competition has not been defined at all. Only OECD has defined the concept of dominations. But if you look at the Western countries and India, there is a large display of differences between what is Indian competitiveness and what is Westernized competitiveness. A vast difference. Here we had the monopoly concept in India, but there in the Western countries there is no question of monopoly at all. And there is a free and fair trade, but here we don't have any free or fair trade at all. That is why we are also harping on the general agreement on tariff and trade. We are not able to move a little further because our government concept is Make in India and Made in India programs only. So everything is very Indianized or individualized, and we are not in sync with the foreign statutes, though we have borrowed a lot of literature in framing this competition from the Sherman Act or the Fair Trading Practices Act from the UK. Host of other acts are there, but the word competition has not been defined at all. So this brings up a lot of litigations before the CCI, which is facing no competition in the case of employment of its members on the board, and any commission for that matter always runs forward with an empty shell. That's a bureaucratic point of view. They oversteps their jurisdictional process and enters into other domain area for which your statutes will not apply at all. That's a problem. Exactly the development which is taking place at present in the competition law is what is the status of this CCA? You have not defined a competition, but you are in competitors to the other statutes like a TRI. TRI is also sitting in Tarai and trying many things. They are also not able to do anything at all. The license factor for that matter, they are not able to award a judgment on reservation of 4G or 5G either to Reliance Jio or to Vodafone or to Airtel or Idea. They are not there at all. So we are facing a very different scenario. Then again monopoly is coming into the telecom sector. We just narrated with regard to MRTP Act, Control of Capital Issues and the Competition Act. It's today we are faced with the other telecom operators not able to enter into the market at all because one particular person has ruled the entire telecom sector at all. So here comes the two villains, whether the CCA will get into the entangled or the TRI authority will enter into the matter. This is my main topic of the today's lecture. I'll be very short, sweet and simple. I have not held you in captive audience very long, but I assure you, I give a guarantee that none of you will go out because I'm not going to touch any sections. You're all great CA students, made sole attempts, attended many CPE programs, but I only wish that my topic will be very humorous. I understand the compulsory of attending the program instead of being continuously attending. All these things we know it, but still then evening time, I respect all of you for your intellectual knowledge. I am just a small student before you in beginning this concept of recent developments in the e-com. There is no development at all, only turbulence in the act only is taking place every amount of time only. 2004 and till today I see that still turbulence because there's one big body which is there which is not able to exploit its opportunities. As a result of what happens, that the business parties, business players in the market are dominating the very institution itself. So the first case law which I am going to tell you, I got 7 or 8, 9 case laws. Side by side I will tell you. You do not have to take it any down. Just only remembering there is a lot of professional opportunities there. Only thing is we have not exploited or we have not touched those areas of practice. We thought that is a legal area, but to my little understanding it is not a legal area at all. Everything has to be backed up by the facts and figures. If there is a fact, there should be a figures also. If there are figures, you should give the fact also. Otherwise, marriage will not take place in the competition law at all. So that anybody can test. If you want to ascertain the price of the shares, we are there. Market, share price, relevant market, geographical market. It is not that only lawyers have to determine which is a geography. We know our geography and we can definitely play a larger amount of role in going to CCA also and representing our clients. There is a specific provision, representation by chartered accountant, company secretary, vagera, all these things. But most of them, 100% are dominated by the lawyers only. The first case which I want to tell you, after giving and before that, sorry, the subject matter is very simple because during your stage when you pass a CA examination, MRT might have been there, but today, but it is only a replica. There is no difference between, like in FEMA and FERA, what difference? It was very raw and now it is very mild. That's all. It's a motherly touch and it's a fatherly touch only. So similarly here also, the 3 pillars of competition law they have maintained. So the subject orientation, dialogue, debate and argument all rest on 3 pillars of law only. There is nothing that you have to learn more about going into the nitty-gritties of the law, nothing else at all. The first pillar of the competition law is nothing but prohibition of anti-competitive agreements. Now, how do do I say that you are anti-competitor to me? That's the exact thing you have to. Everything is anti. Don't study Hindi. It is anti-Hindi agitations. Clear? Don't study means, but I'll start studying. Does it become an anti-Hindi? Not at all there. And you understand this point. So first is prohibition of anti-competitive agreements. That is number one. The second is abuse of your dominant positions. Now I am in a dominant position here to make you all to listen to me. But that doesn't mean that I am abusing you at all. I am just standing here, that's all. All of you can come here and start deliberating. There is no dominance at all. These two pillars, that is anti-competitive agreements and abuse of dominant positions, does not amount to violation of the law at all. That's what the law says. There's two pillars of the thing is that one, merely being anti does not mean you are violating the competitive markets. You are in a free market only. Even if you are dominant positions, it doesn't mean you are abusing it at all. Okay. What the development says is, prove to the fact that you are there is an appreciable adverse effect on the competitions. It is not simply an adverse, it should be appreciable. Now what is appreciable is always a question of judgment only. So that is why these two pillars set the ball rolling, not only for the parties to exploit the law, but also they are exploiting the commission itself to go here and there. And the third pillar is nothing but regulation of combinations. Now regulation of combinations like mergers, acquisitions, arrangements, internal, external reconstructions, all are discussed very elaborately in the company law. For your remembrance, the CCA is just another baby in the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The mother-in-law always remains the company law. You may like it. If you don't like it, you have to love your mother-in-law. If you love, you can't like her at all. So Companies Act is 1956. It talks about compromises, arrangement and reconstructions. Again, this person, competition law also takes about regulation of the combinations. That is why time and again, the mishaps that is happening in India today, whether it is a ILFS scheme or a Punjab Cooperative Bank or any for that matter, it is not the fraudster at all. The fraudsters are exploiting the law. That's all. Only fact is that one. Even today in live mint, a question arose what the RBI was doing with regard to the scam. So everything became a post-mortem analysis, what regulators are doing it. While I was attending 10-15 years back for the Kettle Parik scam, and today it is very, very live and very vivid. What the Parliament is asking, for one entity, why there are multiplicity of regulators. So multiplicity of regulators is one of the causes affecting the interest of the consumers and non-protections of the investors at large. Today, despite the fact, though I am going away here and there, despite the PMC scam, I read day before yesterday, the depositors are still interested in the PMC bank only, cooperative bank only, despite the best efforts of the government. You withdraw 10,000, 25,000, 40,000, no, we'll stick to the, because the baby for cooperative is SEBI will come, RBI will come, even you left, even registrar will come, even local police will come, sir, I am only overruling this entire cooperative bank, but it is within our jurisdiction, they will say. So the point here to be very noted is this, CCA is always overstepping into the territorial jurisdictions of other sector. That's a main point in which they have been doing from the very beginning. So regulation of combinations, there also I will like to mention a point as to what mistakes they are doing it and preventing the competitions. Then the last but not the one, the regulator being the CCA only. But at the end of the day, the DG, Director General of Investigation, does all these matters only. In fact, it should be the vice versa. For example, ROC conducts an inquiry, ROC appoints an inspectors. Inspectors give a report to the ROC. ROC submits to the company tribunal. Then the tribunal goes to the government only. But here, the CCI passes a final order of the judgment. What the judgment? The judgment says that you cannot deliver any judgment unless until you have a judicial member. They don't have any judicial members. So what they will do? They pass on judgment. The judgment is very simple. Director of General is requested to undertake the investigations. So it a retrospective development only. Development is not taking place after 19 years of the law. The first case law which I want to tell you is Reliance Jio versus Airtel, Vodafone and Idea. You all know all these four players are mega players. They are all thick in friendship, but in the market they are enemies. So when you are thick in friendship and enemies in the market, what do you mean by that? There is a cartel. That's all. I don't see you face to face, but our phone I lavishly speak with you. This is called collusion of agreements. So when Reliance Jio enter into the telecommunication sector in a big way, the power of connection, that is called interconnection, POI, rests with the Vodafone company, Idea and the Airtel. These are the three prominent players in the telecom sector at all. Reliance Jio is of a very recent phenomenon. So what Reliance did, you see, mega business empire, they themselves do not know whom to approach for this particular problem. Just like any police case, sir, whether I will file a police station in Uttamar Gandhi Sale and Mahatma Gandhi Sale. Gandhi is a common name. One is Mahatma police station and Uttamar. If you go to Uttamar Gandhi station, people will say, sir, this jurisdiction does not fall under, you go to Mahatma. Gandhi name is very common, but the name of the street takes to different jurisdictions. So Reliance filed a petition before the trial, telling or claiming that these three parties are not giving the power of interconnections to them. Okay. Now TRAI has also tried many times in the Indian law. We know the telecommunication sector prices have been varying for a very drastically in the last few months. There is a down-earth pricing by the Reliance Jio. That means affecting the other prices. So most of the operators, because of various excise duty and income tax calculation running about 1 lakh crore, switched over to Reliance Jio. That's what happened, because inter-mobility of transfer takes place very easy, can be done easily. It is a government policy. If you don't like one operator, you go to the other operator. But here the operators are only four. Vodafone, gone. Airtel went in the air. Idea, no idea. Idea only. So now you see, when they presented a petition, they went to trial. So the question arose before the Supreme Court was not with regard to the fair whether they are not giving the interconnections at all. Because they were holding all the power of interconnections. Their claim is, why you are not giving to me? Because I have opened the market. So the TRAI is a telecom license sector only. Clear. They cannot enter into the area of abuse of dominance by the other three people. What they have done, whether it is a violation of the TRAI Act only they will see, but not with regard to other act. But in the Reliance case, it was felt that the point of jurisdiction lies with the CCA and not with regard to the TRAI authority. Because TRAI also has got an appellate tribunal. They have to discuss why they are not giving connections to the new player. So whether it amount to collusion agreement or whether it is a cartel among them, they decided. Now the point here that we have to note down is this, to magnify my timings, there are more case laws, is that what is the market for the telecommunication sector? That's a very important factor. Because BSNL is gone, BSNL is gone, Idea gone, Vodafone gone, Airtel gone, you are left only one player, he is a monopolist. Now we can't say now at this point of a time that Reliance is in a very dominating positions. The thing is that they are in a dominating positions. Not because they have bet them, because they have got other tax dues which are not able to play. So they are requesting the government, please give some time for us to settle our dues. The government is telling, we will consider. You and I will not wait for their tax dues to be paid. We have paid our taxes very simply to the government. So we all switched on to the... Now what Reliance does, I entered into a package some 6 months back, 1 year package, I gave 1,200 rupees. Now what now they are doing, sensing the factor, now we are going to increase our prices, please recharge now. Think like that way. Now he is in a very dominant position. I am not able to go to Vodafone or Airtel or something else, because when you look at the price factor, this fellow is very cheap. So automatically when you are giving a deep discount bonds, the discount will come at the end of your life only. It will not come at a very first stage itself. If I am buying 100 rupees deep discount bonds, they will discount at the very initial and they will give you when you are dying only. That is called deep discount bonds. Here also same principle, having given the deep discount bonds and other competitors have been washed away, a question arises whether this fellow has abused his dominance or not. So we can tell, I can't give a judicial ruling, but as a consumer I will say, yes, I don't have any choice to go to the other fellow, because his tax dues are much more than, they are also increasing the rates. Increasing the rates, this fellow also has increased the rate. This is called as the parallel pricing. This is called parallel pricings. Now parallel pricing will come when we are buying any vegetable in the market. Suppose vendaka vaanga porana. If I go to Pazhamudir Solai, it will be always a price at which Pazhamudir was selling it. As if in Ooty price I have to give. Even if it comes to Kottaval Chavadi or Coimbatore, he will give only at Ooty price, because the name is Pazhamudir. But when I go to Coimbatore, same Vendakai or whatever may be, he is selling at Coimbatore some on the road. So this is also Pazhamudir only. So what happens? The fellow on the road is lowering on the discount on the prices of Bindi and selling at a very lower price. He is not in a dominating positions because he is a low profile consumer, low profile operator. But look at this case in telecom sector. This fellow could not get interconnections from other fellow while he applied for the license. But afterwards it turned so that he is in a dominating position. The other fellow are not claiming any right of abuse at all. That which means the commission will always ask, are you in a very dominating positions? Dominating position means what? You are able to operate independently of others. That is the meaning of, it's actually a very synonym to the monopoly. I am independently operating. If at all, if there is some people, then let them come. The purpose of the act is to promote competition. But we say in the our daily life, there is no competition at all. One fellow is only ruling anywhere. Even with regard to the car manufacturers, I can say, they are going for amalgamations and mergers. Ford India Motors have entered into a collaborative exercise with Mahindra, a very international player who is having some share in the market, say 28% or 26%. So what he does, he entered into a collaboration with other fellow. So your market share from 28% along with the Mahindra and Mahindra will go up. Merely because the market share price is going up, you cannot say it is a dominating positions. So the moot point is where you are abusing. That's a real point here. Here in this particular case, Reliance Jio, what the court observed was that the applicant has gone to a wrong forum. They went to trial. So they will always take the judges will always take a very different turn, and when it comes to the question of questioning and prayers before the appeal, they will just ask you, how old are you? The how old are you is not at all related to my facts of the case at all. But the arguing parties will have some hold in the why they are asking how old are you? Or you got an experience in this, and they start asking to poke you, to demean you, they will ask. So here the Supreme Court held that why these two regulators are interjecting together in the territorial jurisdiction of telecom sector. So the court held, without looking into the abuse of dominance, they abused the CCA, telling that let the try and then let them decide. And then you can enter into the fact whether you are abusing the dominance or not. Still, the case is pending. By the time the case is pending, we are seeing the very different fact that there is only one player there. The rest of the three players have become the opponent party. So the question is that whether the TRI authority has got the exclusive jurisdictions of CCI or whether CCI has got the exclusive jurisdiction of TRI. And both the statutes are being different. The court also came to a conclusion, to a rule, that TRI will look into the license factor only. They will not judge whether any violations under the CCA Act has been done or not. CCA violations are very pinpointing abuse of dominance or not. TRI will not do it unless a TRI come to a conclusion that there is some argument in the matter, then they cannot come to the CCA at all. So again, petition is lying before the CCA whether these parties have entered into a collusion or a cartel to prevent Reliance Jio coming into the market. But again, the fact, what I am coming to tell is a dominating position already today. As such, today we see the share of the Reliance Jio data gives millions of subscribers through inter-mobility transfer have gone to the Reliance only. So as a result, their share have drastically reduced in the market at all. So what judgment likely to come is there is no abuse of dominance of position at all. So the point, a lesson for the Competition Commission of India is in their energy, in their euphoria in 2002, they thought they are master of all. Like we see in any law, any act you take, for example, Information Technology Act, notwithstanding any other country, any other law, this is a non-obstante class. To say that they are superior among all the statutes, every lawmaker will put this clause, notwithstanding. It will not withstand at all before other law. That's a point. Thing is, company law being a mother-in-law, she is not able to shake or dance. It's a very bigger act, and even company has not been defined in the company law for last 56 years. That is the status of mother-in-law. She will not define at all, but there will be refinement. Similarly, here also, they have not laid down the jurisdictions. That's a very, very important fact is that being our professionals, before taking the case laws, that we have to say whom we have approached, which is the correct party. Because once an application has been submitted, scrutiny, other things, case comes, hearing up, then finally says, sir, you have come to the wrong police station. It lies in Kodambakam, which is next street, they will say. So again, the turn will come. So Supreme Court decided in this particular cause, the territorial jurisdictions of TRI is foremost important, which means sector of the sectoral subject matter is very important in deciding all competitive agreements. So, for example, recently in healthcare products, you might have seen that the heart stent prices which are charged by the many of the multi-super specialities were very prohibitive. Perhaps you will not even think, poor people cannot think of a stent, they will get dented by hearing the prices only. The government has to interfere and say why the stent prices are so much, why it costs 6 lakhs when it is available for even 90,000 rupees. So what again, when you don't have any business, we will definitely say, sir, GST expert, income tax expert, company law expert. What expert means, it's not defined. Similarly here also, the recent move of the CCI, as per the government instruction is this, that the healthcare facilities in India should be on an affordable basis. If you are not providing on an affordable basis, then again CCI has got the jurisdiction to say whether you are entering into an anti-competitive agreements. You are abusing the dominant positions or not. If it is available only in the Apollo hospitals and nowhere else, then these are dominating positions. When does abuse comes? When it is appreciably and adversely affecting the interest of the consumers. One man is able to pay for the stent operation, other man is not able to pay because of the prohibitive pricings. Then the commission will look into why. Because he is the only person and he is determining the prices. That is why we find the government of India today have regulated this Medical Drug Prices Act. Most of the medicines, especially critical care things, are all coming down very, very drastically because somebody are going through the investigation process as to why the prices are very, especially TB, cancer, everything, the prices are because of the fact that the competition in the market should always be there, but the most important in specific sectoral of the subject matter, it should be on a very affordable basis. So in the Reliance case and other things, the judgment was that Reliance went to a tribe. Tribe can only decide whether they are not giving the power of interconnections. Yes, they were not giving, so that it could not get its network for all these years. Then when he got it suddenly announced, by the time the turn of events took place very differently, the party became, one party became very dominant positions, other players, whether they are not or there, only users will come to know about it. This is one fact which I want to tell you, which came about before the Bombay High Court. The next case law is, I hope I am not boring all of you. I am not preparing you for the CA examinations. Ola and Uber. These are all affecting our daily lives. Every day it is affecting whether Ola is cheaper or Uber is, because you don't have any other fellow at all. Auto Wala, you will not go there at all because fellow doesn't know how to even read GPS. So most of our intelligent people will shun the exercise because you find the cab operator Ola cab is much cheaper compared to auto fellow, because illiterate man is not having a GPS, other things. This incident happened in Delhi. Meru Taxi Solutions, which is one of the very good taxi operator in Delhi. He was dominating the entire taxi operators in Delhi. When you go to Delhi airport, even today, 5-6 years back, the Meru taxis, there will be a separate department. Apart from it, you will have a Delhi prepaid taxi service, yellow and white, yellow and black. People will not prefer, they will go for Meru only, or other people who are looking after money, they will go to prepaid Delhi transport corporations. Then the Ola and Uber came into India. These Meru taxi services, their business was affected by the Ola and Uber because of the technology advance, that's all. For Meru, you have to telephone them that I am coming by this flight from Chennai. Here it is not like that. From here, I can book my taxi at Delhi or Srinagar or wherever, I can book it at all. So they complained before the CCI that Uber is dominating the position in the cab aggregator network services in the Delhi NCR regions. It's a very important case law. Just like time on this thing, how the nuances in the law take a bigger degree and the meaning becomes very useless. What they did, they said Uber is dominating the taxi aggregators. So as a result, we are suffering. And why that fellow was suffering, the Uber gave an explanation before the court that they are losing about 204 rupees per trip. You see, we are thinking that the foreign multinational operators are very brainy fellows and they are very supernaturals and we are all artificial fragrant with no preservatives. Here they told before the court, we are losing about 204 per ride. Clear? The first point itself is bold, because he is offering one deep discounts. Clear? If it is 204 rupees, they will say, sir, just give 4 rupees only. He is incurring a loss. So what happens? Is investor protected? No, investor is not protected at all. He is only saved. I need not have to pay the money to that one. So the point before Meru tax and the Ola was that one. This fellow is having a dominant share in the Delhi NCR region. Again, when it goes to a commission, there will be a lot of omissions. Because instead of looking at the main point, they go to the sub points and matter will go somewhere, the taxi will go away. You will look for another taxi. Sir, Ola is coming, sir, we have booked, sir. Another 5 minutes coming. Then you will see the trip is completely a trip nearby. Nearby, no by, you will not come. So what you will do, you will cancel, go to the next fellow. Like that here also, argument advanced by the Uber was 204 rupees loss. So that means there is an incentive for you to abuse the dominance of the other. Point one, got out. The court took it a different step. Why are you operating at a loss? Because I come to the preamble of this, not preamble, the definition of competition, that the sellers should have all opportunities in the market to have the buyer's patronage. That's the main thing of competition, that's all. All firms, you and I, everybody look for audit, that's all. Big Four maybe have maybe in dominant positions, but when it comes to a market, it's a level playing field and sellers always look for a buyer's patronage. Sir, that is why we have the scale of fees. Somebody will say, sir, I'm going less below the audit fees. So what you are doing, I'm not telling it is unethical or something else. In terms of the competition law, you are doing a predatory pricing. You are going below the pricing. And it is also abuse of the competitive positions. In what way by charging a lesser price I am abusing the competition is a different factor. I am not going into that particular thing. Here, this fellow being in a dominant position, again question mark, says the reasoning is I am suffering a loss of 200. How you can say? So the point came, where is your market? The Meru taxi gave an argument that these people are operating in Delhi NCR region. Always Delhi is surrounded by 7 states, Punjab, Haryana, UP and other things. So definitely the taxi has to cross the border of UP, Noida and to go back. Haryana, they have touched Sonipat, Panipat, all the things. So the question arises whether Delhi is included in the NCR or NCR is included in the Delhi. Always will tell Delhi NCR only. So what the commission took a stand was that let us de-alienate the market. So when you are de-alienating the market, what you will have, you will get the data of the relevant market only you will get it. Because any point of time in any argument, the question of relevance is very, very important. So here the relevant market means the word itself is very clear. Whether it's a share market or a bazaar market or vegetable market, you will be cut into pieces like vendaka. That is mar, cut. Ek mar, do tukda. Similarly here also, the commission, the court held, where is Uber? The taxi is in Delhi or NCR? No sir, it has gone to NCR. Then it is not a market at all. You talk about only Delhi, but don't include the NCR. The argument advanced by the other people, sir, plenty of people are seamlessly traveling between Mir to Delhi, Ghaziabad to Delhi, and Agra to Delhi. So Delhi means it includes, but the rest of the cities all belong to separate state. When you go to a state, it is a geographical market. When you are in this state, you are in a market. If you are in this market, are you in Coimbatore or outside? Or in T Nagar market. T Nagar market is a relevant market for T Nagar area. It cannot be combined with Coimbatore market. So they wanted to find out where is the relevant market for. So again they came to a conclusion that Uber was not dominating the position or abusing in any way, because what mistake they have done in the commission, they had a data from tech side. So they gave the data. So you see, this is the data of the market. How many taxis of Uber are flying between Delhi to NCR, and they said they are offering the losses. First, the loss question is a main factor. The subsidiary things are that one, the NCR is not a relevant market for Uber at all. It's fine. Definitely you have to cross. Definitely you have to cross particular state because you are on the border. Delhi doesn't have a very big boundaries. Just a few 10 kilometers you will reach 7 states very easily in 1 hour. So people will be traveling. Or otherwise, you have to talk about UP market, Punjab market, Haryana market. So they said that they are not abusing the dominance in the relevant market. But the point that they told was is by incurring losses, you are preventing competitors to enter into the market. Because you are you are not in a dominant positions. They found out Uber share in the Delhi was not significant at all. Because there were Ola, there were Meru, there were prepaid taxis, so many taxis were there. But the loss-making rights made the commission to think, yes, you are in a dominating positions. That is why you are preventing other competitors to enter into the. There's no agreement at all. It doesn't come under the prohibition of anti-competitive agreements, but they were abusing the dominance. So it is not merely being dominant is enough. Have you abused it? That's a real question. But in this particular case, Meru Taxi Solutions versus Ola and Uber, the court held that loss-making rights definitely prevents the competitions. It can be vice versa. In this case, Uber was not dominant, but the fact was they were suffering losses. I am not a dominant at all. I am offering a deep discount strategy, then you are not abusing because you are not dominant. You see the paradox and the paradigm in this. So they told if you are not dominant, then there is no question of abuse at all. So most important factor.
Sir, if they are incurring losses, how they are continuing business?
But that's a business secret. You and I cannot know it at all. They will tell. See, they will tell the fares are slightly increased at this point of time because they got customers there. When they don't have a customers, the pricing strategy we cannot tell anything at all because all these people, Ola and Uber, are just co-brothers only. They are all in one place only. And the thing which I want to advance here is, in any question of appeal and argument, your reasoning is very, very important along with the data. It may be even absurd. Now you are asking, sir, why they are suffering at losses and because they are giving incentive to the taxi drivers. You see the point. I go back. I'm sorry if he's not asking me, then my stomach and mind will. Yes, sir. Please. You can interrupt him at any point of time.
Answer is simple. You want to kill the competition and you want to. Once he is close, you can price it any way you like.
No, the thing is, they were not in a dominant position in Delhi area.
No, they are not dominant today. Like Jio, now every other telecom company is closed. Then he can price it whatever he wants.
That's where the question which I.
What is the entry strategy, sir, for Uber?
See, I don't have. See, that's why I made it in the very first stand itself. MRTP Act was much better than the competition law. Control of capital issues was much better than what we are seeing in the CPE book building processes. CCI, if you take about 40 years back, nobody lost the money in the market. Nobody lost. Today you see every day investors are losing money by others book building their books.
Because the CCI pricing model was very good.
Pricing will not come under at all because if I am the only two cab operators or aggregators are there in the market, I am running at a loss. They never asked for whether you are running at a loss because nobody will give the statistical data of how many sales you have made in the picture. It's only the company we have to make.
When I met CCI, when control of capital issues, their pricing model was very conservative compared to what it is.
Yes, are we not benefited by the fact? Because as a consumer,
As an investor, yes.
yes, but we didn't like the control aspect. We want a free pricing mechanism. Let the market decide the price. So apply the same concept. Let the market decide. The market decided, yes, the price band will be between 100 and 120. That's all. They fix the band. It can go anywhere because 20% is only the upper cap limit. If it is 100 is the price, it can go up to 20, but it cannot go beyond below 100 rupees. The point in the book building process also, certain terms and conditions have been introduced. You can't go above the price and you go below the price. This is called resale price maintenance. MRP not to exceed. Okay. If the price of the medicine is 100 rupees, he can't charge 120 rupees. Okay? I am charging just 10 rupees. I am abusing the price itself. That was a point here. Yes, sir.
Another example is how China kept India's textile manufacturer. First, the dye was there. They priced the dye very low, so Indian dye manufacturers couldn't compete. The textile manufacturers, they went for all Chinese dye purchase. Once the Indian dye manufacturer was closed, they immediately made the price of dye so high that Indian textile factories couldn't compete with the textile factories, and they closed everything.
Because you see, those people are all parties in the Chinese unless they become a subsidiary. Ola and Uber must be subsidiaries of Indian companies. They are not they are foreign companies, but they are being subsidiaries in India. The law of territorial jurisdiction again will come into play. They are paying in the international arena, like in the case of crude prices. The OPEC decides the prices. USA says that I will hit the prices. The crude prices for 40 years were very running. Hit was only India only. The hit was only the India. But today you see the scenario. The import of oil bills have drastically reduced. The fellows are just telling, take it as a water free. That doesn't mean he's operating at a loss. But the point here, you have to note it down very clear. What that aggregator will do without having any car and any driver. He's only an aggregator. He doesn't have anything at all. Just I will have one Google map or my office, simple office, and I will manage 1,000, 5,000 taxis in Chennai city. What I will do, I will connect you, I will connect you, I will connect you, I will connect you, I will connect you. Who is the driver? Uber doesn't know. He's cipher on that one. Ola, that's all. Something runs. So his main point was not I am lighting a loss, sir, I have to incentivize my driver. It is not a driverless car it will take away. Unless I get a car and a driver, Uber and Ola is nothing. That is why you find even fast track services, they are not even the track, leave alone the fastness. Earlier, they were the predominant players in the market only. They will charge for up, they will charge for the down, and you will go down. But today it's not like that only upward prices. He is saying the loss that I am giving, incurring the ride, is not a profit to me. I am only giving incentives to my drivers. Sir, if you have if completed 10 trips per day, sir, he is rated as the... So they are asking for your comments. What do you think about the driver? Cleanliness, car thing, very polite, courteous. What you will do, you get, unless you reach a place safely, you give comment good, or you don't give comment. So he is not doing anything at all. And you look at very geographically, place where you apply information technology. Where is his place of market? He is just springing from Bangalore, and I went to Srinagar. He is arranging one Uber cab for me. He doesn't have any share at all. That is why they told, you talk about in that particular relevant market and relevant geography. Don't combine too much of places here. But here, he told it was a loss. So once you are talking a loss, that means you are giving a low discount strategy. Deep discount. That's why deep discount bonds will always incur not an advantage, but a loss for you itself. That is why the bond market is not establishing in the India. If you look all the capital market thing, equity prices goes, gold prices goes, real estate prices goes, but he asks for bond. Even James Bond 007 will not take any bond in India. But in a Western concept, bonds are very, very famous. But in here, so when you are giving deep discount strategy, you are entering into abuse of your being dominant. You are not dominant, but if the facts prove that you are incurring losses, and then you are what the court will see, you are preventing the competition. At the end of the day, the competition judgment is only, are you preventing anybody to enter the market? If you are preventing by any way, you are finished. That's a real point. So argument advanced by the Uber was very wrong here. That's a point which I want to tell. Next, I'll go to the auto parts. So telecom sector we have touched. and then we touched about taxi operators, then we'll go to autopods. These are all select cases I have touched because everybody is having a car or something else, and everybody are bound to go to the particular showroom and particular service providers only. We are all, I would say, being gang raped in this particular competitive area. If I got a Maruti, I have to go to that particular. I got an options to go to the roadside repairer also. But what happens at the end of the day, that particular spare parts I can buy only from that particular dealer only, because the manufacturers, original equipment OEM, will enter into a contract with the dealer, because Maruti Suzuki produces the car. He will manufacture, he will throw away all the cars into the market. But where does the servicing begin? The servicing, he will have his control. He will have his entirely the control. Like in any real estate also, the builder, after building about 20-story building and everything, he will not hand over immediately to you at all. He will hand over only to the associations. That association will never meet at all. If they meet, it will be a Indo-Pakistan war only. They will lose the main factor. So what he will do, he will charge for the maintenance of the flat by himself. You have to definitely pay to them. First 2 years free. Afterwards, some flats will be left unsold. The same fellow will build the flat on a built and operate transfer base. Till he transfer the prices, he will be holding on the control. So you have to pay whatever the maintenance charges you have to pay. Otherwise, it will be a messy affair only. Similarly, in the Kia Honda spare parts versus Union of India, a question came that whether the spare parts of the manufacturers should be the exclusive distribution by the manufacturers themselves. So, which means if they are entering into an agreement with the dealer, for example, Mount Road. So, what I will tell to the Mount Road dealer, that you should not buy my spare parts from anybody except myself. The same spare parts might be available in the market, genuine or whatever may be the fact, at a very lower price, but he enters into an agreement with him. So whether this agreement is not abuse, is very anti-competitive or not. This is one fact. So in this case, what happened? All the other market players who are not in the dealership area are prevented from entering into the market. I manufacture the product and I say I will give it to you only, I will not give to X, Y, Z, finished. You are coming within the border of anti-competitive agreements. The law preamble again says don't prevent anybody into the competitive area. Just because you have produced the product, it does not belong to you. Once you produce the product and lands on the geography, it belongs to everybody. Same in the case of, for example, exclusive dealership, Maruti, Honda showroom, Ford showroom, exclusive dealership. So when they go for servicing, you left with no other option except to go to that area only. Take for example, I want to change the engine oil. He will charge that engine oil as prescribed by the Maruti plus the GST, all ST, sales tax, everything will charge. And he will wait you for 1 day there. But if I go to the roadside shop, no GSTs or nothing else, just give 500 rupees. So this fellow knows. Earlier, Maruti was a sole component. That is why we found even on Delhi roads, everybody will repair Maruti. Every Sardarji knows how to, they know very much to dismantle Maruti and sell it for double the price. So the manufacturer knows everything else. So he enters into agreement that he should not purchase from anyone. After all, he is only a service dealer. He is not selling the product at all. He is a separate segment of it. But when the spare parts they are applying, they say you should purchase me only and not from anybody. It was held to be an anti-competitive agreements. Again, merely preventing them from entering the market is not anti-competitive. The last question will arise, does it have any appreciable adverse effect on the company? Yes, because you are preventing him from buying the, why you are not selling your spare parts only to that fellow? If you are selling to only that fellow, not to X, Y, Z, then you are preventing the competitions. So this was the case in short. brief analysis. In this case, in the auto spot case, the Supreme Court came with a very observations that in any meeting for that matter, chairman has always got a casting vote. In board meeting, in audit committee meeting, when the decision is held only by a majority, in case of equality of 50:50, the chairman will have a casting vote. But here, the Supreme Court held that the chairman of the commission cannot have a casting vote because they told the word it is anantama. Anantama means it is anti-ma. If there is no mother, there is no family at all. So father cannot exist alone. You should have a mother also. Mother means the quorum should have a minimum of 5 and the maximum up to 7 persons. With the 3 persons, you cannot decide any matter or give any ruling. At the best, you can only ask the DG to conduct an investigations. So you find the Director General of Investigation, CCA, is a more competent person compared to the chairman and other members. There is no judicial. They are all from IRS and IAS people. The court held, yes, either you appoint judicial members and decide the case law, but you cannot give any ruling on the particular matter. So you can't go for adjudication. So it stops with the commission itself. It will not go to compact. Yes, sir.
There are 3 members. Take a
That's a thing, I flash back to the, again, company law. Rotation of directors will take place with not 2 directors alone. Clear. There are 3 persons. They say, because the composition, the full strength of the CCA is 15.
But at present there are
Only 3.
they have, but there's supposed to be
There is no judicial member there. That's a real problem. I told you in the very thing. When you go to NCLT, the members are designated Mr. X, judicial member, Mr. Y, technical member, they will say.
when there is an odd number of members in the committee, that's a question of casting vote coming.
Because, no, suppose one other person's, it will not come at all. That's what I'm coming to tell. Even the 3 is a very odd number. The 3 is a very odd number. 3 is a very odd number. Chairperson cannot, chairperson, I will vote for example, I join with you. So 2 is only 1 person's. So what are you doing? You are falling short of the minimum quorum, which is 5 or 7. And above all they are telling, suppose there are 6 persons, including the chairman, 3. Then also they tell the chairman cannot give a casting vote here. That's a very departure from the normal dictum of law. The chairman will always have a casting vote in the case of 50, but here you can't do it at all. Again, they go back. Where is a judicial member here? No judicial member, so no ruling at all. You can't go for adjudication. Normally, anything income tax or company law, you go for adjudication appeals only. So here, that is why maybe a relevant point for you, maybe due to my extraordinary nonsense knowledge, you cannot just order for a search, simultaneously order for a seizure at all. A man going, income tax man going for a search, sir, I have searched, no. Have you seized? So, seizure cannot exist without a search, and search cannot be without his wife called the Caesar. So Caesar's sword is much above. That is also another observation that they made in the competition law. Any search should be followed by Caesar. You are merely searching for the data or searching for the something, it will be invalid, it will be void. The story of competition law, I got another 20 minutes for winding up the sessions. Then we come to railways. Railways, Indian Railways, only one fellow, monopoly. So, and everything online tickets. And rounding off. Income tax rounding off, platform ticket rounding off. So at the end of the day, they will round off the passengers. Somehow or other, 50 paisa means 1 rupee. 1 rupee will become 150. 150 change will not be there because 50 paisa has been demonetized. What they will do, round off to the next figure. But in all the laws, to the nearest only. To the nearest factor. The factor is very important. Which factor? Sir, 1 rupee 25 paise, nearest factor is only 2. because there is no 25 paise, there is no 10 paise, 5 paise, 50 paise, so automatically goes to 2. But here railways, when they are calculating online sale of tickets, any charges rounding off will be taken to the nearest multiples of 5. So again, court held you are abusing your dominant position and rounding off to the next multiples. Maybe a very small thing as such, but it has got a greater meaning. Where is 1 rupee and where is 5 rupees? So 4 rupees. Millions of passengers booking the ticket and rounding off. People may not see it at all. They have rounded off. In fact, they have not round. They have rounded off you. So the court observed online sale of tickets by rounding off the basic fare minimum to the nearest multiples of 5 is not valid. It is held to be abuse of your dominant positions. Similarly, when you come to the anti-competitive agreements, let us not be abusing the topic of abuse of dominant position. Let us also touch the anti-competitive agreement, because very important as such. We go for a bidding, auction bid. Normally L1, L2, L3, the lowest L1 will always be selected as the price at which you have to select the commodity. If you are going for L2, then you have to give a lot of, we have seen in the coal auction bid, 5G bid, so many bid, the lid has to be opened at the end of the day. So the lid of the bid is very, very important, very, very important. Here is a very interesting fact is that one, IOC, Indian Oil Corporation, floated a tender for supply of, they are only manufacturers, that's all. But cylinders, everything, the distributors, manufactured cylinders have to supply it. 47 people bidded for the IOC auction, 47 people. And they know very well that in this gas pricing, it's a very, very ticklish. Unlike telecom sector, unlike auto parts, unlike Ola, a small thing will burst the entire thing, the small thing will vaporize the entire thing. So they know the nitty-gritties of bidding here. So what these people, 47 people did was, they formed an informal agreement and everyone was bidding at the same price. You charge 5 rupees, 5 rupees 25. You charge 5 rupees, 501. The commission observed all the 45 except one fellow, odd man, had the same pricing only. Same pricing. So what they did, yes sir, this is anti-competitive agreement because people are resorting to predatory pricing. Predatory means pretending to act, but in fact it is not real. This is a real meaning. If you convert into a chaste language, it will be very different. It is a killing price. What he calls a surge pricing, low prices, middle prices, MRP, like that. The bidding here was called as a parallel pricing, which is equivalent term for predatory. Predatory means already predetermined and pre-colluded with all the people. Let us bid. You bid, I bid. But let us see to whom the bid goes. So they found it except one fellow. So CCA held, sorry, the bid has to be closed because it was a parallel pricing. IOC being the thing. But you know, Supreme Court, always supreme on any matter, for any matter for that matter. When to eat, when to bath, when to drink, what air we have to breathe. Everything today is the Brahma is the Supreme Court today. Actually nothing else. So they held, there is no parallel pricing at all because in these cases, the rules of the game are very similar. IOC is only one person there. And what these people are supplying, the cylinders, so that they can fill up the gas over there and send to the butter large. Merely because they charge the same, because bidding means you do not know what price you are charging. I do not. I may know it, but they came to an understanding. There's all these 45 or except one was the same price. So to whom you will award 5 rupees, 20 paise? It doesn't make any difference when they are filling up the gas cylinders up to lakhs and millions only. It may go at all. So here the Supreme Court has said there is no parallel pricing or any predatory pricing at all. because IOC is the only fellow. You have Hindustan and Bharat, the BPCL there, but three original equipment manufacturers are only there. One is bidding and is asking for the people to fill up the gas cylinders. Everybody charge the same price. In the eyes of the investigator, they are in a collusion agreement, which they said no, it is not a collusion agreement at all. So see the contrast, that even if I deliberately enter into an agreement with you to prevent another person coming into market, it is anti-competitive. Because I am preventing. Here, everybody participated in the bidding. Nobody was prevented. But the pricing strategy was that it was a sale. That does not amount to a cartel or a collusion or a predatory pricing. So nothing, there was no unfairness in the play at all. So there is no question of any violation of Section 3 of the Act, which deals with anti-competitive agreements. Next, I come to last 2 or 3 cases. Regulation of combinations, Section 5 and 6 of the Act. 3 pillars only, Section 3, 4, 5 and 6. These are all the main, other things are all duties and responsibilities of CCA, what travelling allowances, TADA, we are not interested in all these things. Main pillars is only regulation of combinations. A very interesting area, and an area of a wide importance to all the professional members. Valuation has started. Otherwise, the concept of valuation was ingrained already, but we didn't know that it will step out as a separate generic factor, like insolvency. It was all there in the winding up thing. Where is the question of insolvency professionals? In fact, in my age and your age, when I studied company law, we never used to touch the winding up chapter, because either it will wind up the chapter or wind up your career. So most of the people up to 432 they will study winding up chapter, because only 4 mark question will come. If you study 200 section for 4 marks, maybe question will not come, it will wind up you itself. But till see today, everybody has left the incorporation, everybody left the internal audit, external audit, statutory audit, and has become insolvency, because you are going to liquidate so many people. Good. Just like we go to a mortuary, and just like that you want to hang one person. Today the Nirbhaya accused people are living very lavishly because there is no hangman. See, because they are in great demand. Perhaps they may be in a dominating position. So like that here also, all these things are changing vice versa. Suddenly people started winding up a thing and become insolvency professions. Compromise, arrangement and reconstructions. And the important thing in any compromise and arrangement is the minority doesn't have any say at all. At least in the 1956 Act, to my mind, if I am right, because I belong to that, belong to this also, even a minority can go to a court of law to object to one merger or which take place in High Court. Unfortunately, High Court has become tribunal now. They are the court for anything that matters. Today they say, if you are not agreeing, finish it off. We will give the market price of shares. Don't oppose the compromise and arrangement or reconstructions. Go over there. Here, the point is again, CCA was sitting on a very pedestal position. They were in a dominating position. What they were telling, before any combination could happen, please inform us. Not even marriage has taken place. How you can think about boy, girl and other things? You can't take place at all. Like this here also. Say regulating the combinations, which a certain turnover, 500 crores or something else was already there. But the CCA took a overturn and telling any combination and arrangement which has been affected by the shareholders in the general meeting by passing a special resolution, committee of creditors, going, valuer accepting to the fact, going to the tribunal, they also said yes, everything. But now they are telling that have we give a prior notification to the CCA before affecting combinations. Before affecting. These are all 2-year story. I am not going back to the thing because law has changed, mother-in-law has changed, the Companies Act has changed, the Competition Act 2002, Companies Act 2013. Earlier 56, 1969. So you become 50 years elder or 50 years younger and you don't meet together at all. So the CCA has told, but now it has got no relevance at all with the NCLT giving effect to the all the compromise arrangement process. CCA stand on the sector of the subject matter will not get validated at all. You only talk about yourself, your commission. What is your commission? Lot of omission, there is no member at all. No tribunal at all. Compact is not in compact. There is no pact at all. No judicial members. But still, they are entering into various matters of dispute and giving a ruling which the Supreme Court not upholding it, and finally it goes to the Director General of Investigation. Start the investigation. Investigation, it will take any amount of time till he retires. By the time everything will get over. So here they held that to prevent practices having, unless until you see that two merging entity having adverse effect on the competition, prove to the fact. If Ford Motors are entering into a joining with M&M, Mahindra, does it affect the other competition? Because we have got so many competitors, car manufacturers. Where is the question of CCA coming in to say whether it is adversely affecting the competitors? In fact, they are dying away. And there is no necessity for informing them prior to the combination, because these matters are very, very secret. Even in a stock exchange, when the board meeting is to take place and a declaration of dividend matter will not known at all. Board meeting is going to take place. What are the items to be considered? A declaration of dividend, declaration of right shares, bonus shares will not be known to anybody at all. Till such time they come out with, otherwise people will start doing insider trading. Share prices will go up in the market unwantedly. So stock exchange says, but what stock exchange does, they does the insider trading among themselves. Offshoot of different story. This is one. And it is not that, for example, in the case of Google also, they have been penalized to a large extent because of their supremacy on Android matters. So in fact, Android is a thyroid problem for the Google. Android is better than thyroid. So any Google search, you are the master. I cannot go anywhere at all. I can't go to Yahoo. Now, where is Yahoo? No Yahoo at all. So the economic union has slapped a fine of $5 million trillion on the Google. Whereas in India, Google India has been charged a penalty of only $19.15 million. Where is 5 billion and where is 19.5 million? Google search has become a very dominant. Yes, sir.
CCA comes into picture when there is a dispute.
Pardon?
CCA comes into picture only when there is a dispute.
Yes. No, it can take even suomoto inquiry. Yes. Yes, they will come to know, like registrar of companies coming to know that there is some accounting malpractices there. How does he come to know? That's a different matter.
No, CCA is for resolving solution.
Yes, because see,
But ROC is a monitoring authority, like RBI, it's a monitoring authority. So even if there is no complaint, they can sue to take care.
yes, definitely. Yes, they will take so much interest when it comes to notice of the fact through some say public interest. Somebody, yes, anybody.
Does it mean only when I'm aggrieved, I should take them?
Yes, as a consumer associations, why you talk about very, very big matters. For example, I will tell you a small example. When I was in Delhi, there is a consumer forum in Delhi. I am not able to recollect the name. They went on to the CCA to tell that that water heating rods, they are not having the particular parameters as prescribed by the Indian Standard Institute. So they went to the CCA and argued that where is the brand image that they have created in the market. So they will start inquiry. The problem is that for the commission is that inquiry cannot start of its own. You need a data mining. Where I will go, what these people did, they gave the data to them. They gave the data to them. Similarly, Uber also, Uber Ola case, there was an agency called TechSci, TechSCA. They gave the data to the CCA Yes, sir, Uber is having a dominant share, but they made a mistake there. They didn't call the Uber to corroborate with evidence. So they failed. That was also one point there. So Sue meta inquiry, they can take it. But all these cases, especially in competition, I don't think so like ROC and other people, they will take Sue meta, because it's not very mega matters where the parties will fight each other. So definitely consumers will not go to the CCA, rather they will go to the Consumer Protection Act. They will go to the district court, state court, high court. They will not go to CCA at all. But agencies which are dealing with the consumer products do go to the CCA and complain to them. They will take, but that will take a turn of very unfair trade practices, which is not there in the competition law. That you have to appreciate the fact. In monopolies, MRTP Act, it stopped up to RTP, but inbuilt was UTP, Unfair Trade Practices Act. Here also restrictive trade practices are not there, but in section 3 and section 4, they are giving all the restrictive trade practices like predatory pricing, resale price maintenance, exclusive agreements, all these things they are giving it. So maybe something different, but all the ingredients which are there in the MRTP Act are Bibled here only. Bibled here only. So there's some point there is a divergence, but in my general opinion, small fellows will not go to CCA because where is the data for you? Otherwise you go to consumer court and argue your case, because individual case. Here the parties coming here, for example Google, Uber, Reliance, big people, and they are having competition fight with the other counterparty. That's a reason here. This is one case, but having beaten back and forth the competition commission right from the beginning, from 6 o'clock, there is a leniency also. There is also a leniency for them. The regulator at the end of the day cannot become a father at all. They have to be motherly with them. In many of the cases, they have reduced the penalty from 100% to a mere of 10%. I will say in the Panasonic case, in dry cell batteries, they are given 100% reduction because there was a cartel by the Panasonic between 2009 and 2016. Because the Panasonic batteries were the one battery, rest of the things are all local people, local. Exide is also, I will take foreign manufacturers only. Panasonic also foreign one. First they laid a penalty of 100% in selling the dry cell batteries. Then afterwards, after investigation, they have reduced the penalty at all. But there is no compounding of offences in the CCA as compared to any other statutes. There is no composition or compounding of offences. Only way is to reduce the penalty. CCA have reduced the penalty in that particular case also. For example, in Eveready also, Eveready batteries, they are given 30% reduction in the penalty also, after coming to know of the real facts. So we can't tell. CCA is very cruel and always cruel. Sometimes they are also 100% lenient, going one step, two step backwards in awarding and reduction in the penalty also. Take for example in merger, the Moser Bayer has been taken over. They have given permission in all cases of and Walt Disney, Walmart acquisition by of Flipkart. In all these cases, the parties were all foreign. The Walmart want to come to India. The only way they can take over is only the Flipkart only. Flipkart. I used to tell that there is something wrong with the Flipkart because sometimes you also slip cart. Sometimes it is called snap deal. Sometimes you snap your deal itself rather than dealing with the customers also. Name is something very significance. When I understand a matter professionally, when I study, I used to look at the name and then find out its horror and scope and then frame a proper horoscope. Here also they have given. Last coming to the decision is IBC, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, which all of you are very interested. In fact, it has taken over all other acts. SURFACE it has taken over. And SURFACE has got one section, I think 14 or something, notwithstanding any other provisions of the law. SURFACE is 2000 criteria. IBC code is 2016. And the board takes all the decisions with regard to that one. CCA, when the IBC code came together, it was on a very fast track. For example, Bhushan Steel and Bhushan Power. they have been allowed to go for a mergers and acquisition by, I think by Tata company or something else. I don't exactly remember. And for example, Ultratech cement company taken over by KM Birla and other companies. Bhushan Power has been taken over by Tata Steel and JSTW. Still it is in process. Still they are not being taken over. So especially when the IBC code came into existence, all these mergers have to take place. So and priority and preponderance of IBC is over all other acts, even Companies Act, Income Tax Act, all other things. But parallel investigation can start. That is what IBC has finally think. If there is a winding up proceedings, we can't stop the investigations. The mergers will go away. The company will be wound up, but investigation will be run parallel, because the end result is not of finding amicable settlement of the parties. You have to remember, as I told you in the first dictum, the dictum sanctorum is minimum government, maximum governance. They gave a time period of 180 days for resolution. What they tell? I want a resolution. The government is not telling you wind up everybody and you close everybody. They will close you. In insolvency, such a matter that if you go for closing of the companies, you will be closed. What they want? Pass a resolution. Have a committee of the creditors and say that within 180 days, the corporate insolvency resolution process is over. So now 180 extendable by another 90 days, 270 days. But if you look at the cases of disposal by the IBB, Insolvency Bankruptcy Board of India, around 52 cases only have been solved. Now what the government has done 2 months back, it has extended up to 330 days. Still fine, but clearances from the other regulatory authorities will take a preponderance by the IBC, because it's not an act, it's a code. A code is always very stricter than a statute. So that is what government is looking at evolving a code form of organization compared to an act. Because act means you have to go to parliament. The code is not like that. It is, I am not maybe an authority whether it requires. Only for amendments in the code, they go to the parliament and pass resolutions for framing into that. That's why we see IBC is getting into amendments on a very fast track, and especially in the case of time period frame, they are a much faster process. So definitely at the end I would say CCA has given road a free hand to the insolvency and bankruptcy process on a free hand. Otherwise, time process will not be followed at all. The IRP, insolvency resolution professional, will be penalized. Why you are taking a time? We have already told you 180 days, granted 90 days. Otherwise you will be censored over there. Because what this IRP, interim professional and insolvency professional, where they will go, again they have to go to other regulator. The committee of creditors will not agree to it. So that is why changes with regard to especially dissenting shareholders, minority shareholders, have all been completely stopped. If I am only one shareholder, even having 99% of the shareholder, the people will say we are giving the market price of shares, but don't oppose to compromise arrangement. It will take away. So very big departure in many other laws taking place. As a result, at the end, on a very sad note, I would say, though CPE committee has chosen the topic, and yesterday around 1 o'clock when I was taking lunch, Rahman called him. I know that there is invitation waiting for me to talk on a very, very dark and a dull topic. But anyhow, I think I have sensitized and made it very interesting, though I have not done a very big job. Because of the love which I had in 2004 made me to come here. Otherwise, I would not have come here to discuss the various matters. But still, I would lead a very happier note to say that opportunities in the CCA have not been capitalized. In fact, this fees, audit assignments in the competition law is just equivalent to 100 of your tax audit, where there is a laborious process, where is one shadow following you and one notice coming to you. So there is attestation has got a big, not only a responsibility but liability at the end of the day. So there is a professional thinking among the younger generation. That is why when they talk about whether you want to go to practice or job, many of the youngsters will say, sir, I will land up in job and receive a salary, marry and have a car and house and other things. But still, practice has got its own inertia and a lot of opportunities. And competition law is one such a law where I find vis-a-vis the IPC code, I again emphasize this point. This is most thing because you are only arguing on behalf of a client. You are not attesting anything else. You are only proving the fact. That is why lawyers are abusing their dominant position in the competition law. So with this, I thank all of you for remaining very patient with me. If there is any questions, you can always welcome. I will not be able to answer, but I will be able to deliberate. Yes, sir.
ICI have a policy of code of ethics, and how it is available, calling for a tender for professional services.
ICA, sir?
ICI code of ethics opens the restrictions for the professional. They cannot have a big display of the board name, they cannot other things, they cannot specific for business. At the same time, it permits calling for a tender by the corporate sectors for professional services. In what way it is right, can you apply it?
So see, it's a very sensitized matter. I will not be, now I am out of from ICA. I have retired from this, so I can, being a company secretary. Yeah, I understand. I fully understand, appreciate questions. In fact, I was dumbfolded when I was sitting as a region head. But now, I am not a blindfolded or dumbfolded for that matter. I am very vociferous and very candid in my points. Because, that has to open up. Why you go to that one? I come to a very touching heart season. You are a senior auditor. Now you look for audit. Look about the students. Let it not be recorded or minutized for anything. Even if minutized, I am not a problem as such. But questions revolves among the students and everybody. Why don't you do a double course while doing the CA course itself? So what it prevents? It restricts only. Suppose there is no guarantee that you will pass the CA examinations. Is there any guarantee? If at all you have passed, it's up to somebody's blessings or somebody's misblessings that he has not properly understood an answer, is awarded the marks. But what is other alternative investment schemes?
This is only regarding the competition act.
Sir, Competition Act also.
What way it fits in here?
In what way?
Competition act fits into this category.
Because as I told you, that finding out the data of the market, who is having the data? Does it prevent you from doing any auditing here? This doesn't come under audit at all. That's why from the very beginning, I have not used the word auditing at all. It's only representing, you are having one client. Maybe you are also an auditor for Honda. What they do, the tendency is this, as soon as they see a law matter, legal matter, even if it is income tax law, many lawyers are representing in ITAT compared to you and I. In fact, I would say it's a best your advantage here. There is no responsibility at all. We are not bidding for it. There is no bidding. In fact, one segment of the profession is just dominating on the other. And where do the lawyers have the data? They don't have the data. You have to go and you have to scout for it, you have to scratch for it, you have to search for it. So that is why what I am trying to tell is, in all other things, you have got restrictions. For example, tax audit 60, audit of company assignment 30, not more than 20 here 10, directorship restrictions, independent director restrictions, internal audit as a statute audit, internal, always you are surrounded with only restrictive matters. But still the complaining at the end of the day is, sir, there are not many professional opportunities at the end of the day for me. I am relying upon only a bank audit, which is also very squeezy, squeezy. The thing which I want to propagate is this. These are all very, very important within our domain of knowledge. I am not telling you. There is no, only thing is you are going to audit the share, relevant share of the market, vegetable market, for example, share of between auto manufacturers, autos in India. So cases are between them. There is a specific section, right to represent, where you are there. How to represent, what to represent. There is no report that you are giving it. As I told you in the Ola case, some agency gave a report. And they believed this report because CCA cannot going on a fishing expedition to search data because they are not the Statistical Institute of India. You give it, I will decide it. But when deciding the parties, main party has been left out. So case was drawn. So it's merely handling a legal assignment case, not of any liability. Responsibilities may be more. I understand this point of view. But think in terms of the turnover which the company has got, like Reliance and Jio. So that is why big law firms in India are even arguing on accounting and auditing matters. Why they are talking about our matters, where we have to talk on the our matters. For example, I will tell you recent development is form number 2 in AFRA, we have to file it. I have been telling the institute for a very long time on this thing because I have attended many of the parliamentary standing committees, MCA meetings, so many things I have attended. So many things I have attended. So now, let us take that you are all members. I am a member of company secretaries. You are a member of insurance charter. He is a member of cost accountant. So where we are binded to? Some other regulation comes, get membership there also. So you find why double membership? You see form number 2 of NAFRA, which is still kept on hold in the MCA website, because we go introspection of the matter. It draws out your privacy of data. You have to give how many audits you are doing, what are the names of company. Can you disclose your client's name? You will say confidentiality agreement, sir. I can't disclose my client's name at all. But see the forms. They are asking each, have you gone for a peer review audit? Have you go for a quality review audit? Again, I go back to the thing, government says we will not interfere in affairs. But if the governance is not there, we will definitely come. That is what all the 3 professional brothers are entering into very piquant situations. So what you expect the youngsters to do? Today's youngsters are all having a very fixed and very brainy idea. No liabilities, no responsibilities. 10 to 5, 6 to 5, finished. The others will not just leave out the place and go away, but who will do the audit assignments? There are about 3 lakhs chartered accountants and 9 lakh companies. So I would say ethically, no company is being audited, because hardly 1,50,000 members are there in practice. How we are going to service 9 lakh companies in India? Today the data of MCA shows 9,52,600 companies in India. Plus, more important, internal audit has become compulsory under 138. So you need about 18 lakh chartered accounts. Supply is not there. So you are not in a dominating positions. You are being dominated by the other professionals. That's a story that you have to draw inferences about where we are. That's all. And my simple point is not to demean myself or yourself or something else. These restrictions will not hold good at all. The more I restrict it, that's why in the Western countries they got a Fair Trade Practices Act. It should be fair. So if I am able to do 50, 60 audit, there is a fault, find out me. No, you can do only this much. You can do only this much. Then it becomes anti-competitive. Okay. Thank you very much for spending your lively evening. It was a lovely evening for us. So thank you for coming over.
The subject of competitive commission is new to us. With his wisdom, effective voice and continuous flow of thought, Mr. Giridharan has done an excellent job. Please give him a big hand. So you should continue to speak in SIRC in future also. So on behalf of the members of SIRC, I am giving this memento to the speaker.